Spider-Man 2, it's great. I mean, who's surprised? The first one was great. Miles Morales was great. This improves on just about everything from both of those. It's awesome. Should you try it? Absolutely, especially if you liked and enjoyed the first two. It's incredible. We're gonna go over certain categories, traversal, combat, all of that, the story. I will cover spoilers, and I'm gonna flash a big, you can't miss it. If you're paying attention even slightly, there's gonna be a big thing that says spoilers incoming. And from there, we're gonna talk about spoilers. So be warned, that won't come until the latter part of the video, so you're good for right now. Now, the traversal. This is the bread and butter of these Spider-Man games, and it has been improved. I mean, if you've seen any of the trailers, any of the released gameplay, you already know about the web wings, and personally, they are incredible. It is so fast. That's it. It's so fast and easy to get around the city now. Not that it wasn't fast before, but oh my God. They took a massive leap including these. That, along with the web slingshot ability where you can basically just catapult yourself into the air and then activate the web wings, you'll cruise for miles. It's incredible. It's a gameplay mechanic, but it also is just a quality of life. Like, yes, the devs understand people want to zip around. They want to feel like Spider-Man, and that's something that these games capture damn near perfectly, is what does it feel like? We're thwipping around the city, we're dodging bullets, beating up goons, just flying around the air, being acrobatic and just awesome. It really makes you feel like Spider-Man in every sense, and they get that. Insomniac gets that. They have the formula down, and this game just emphasizes how much they get it. On top of that, they have the fast travel, which is as fast as the trailer showed. Now, to be honest, I had to film a specific clip for fast travel just for this video. As I was coming up on the end of the game, because of course, when you enter the last mission, most games these days will say, hey, you can't go back. It'll be that little pop-up. And so as I neared that point, I said, oh, I have to record, a video showing the fast travel, because I had not fast traveled the entire game. Up until I beat it, I had not used it once, because something could be 3,000 meters away and you can just fly there. Not literally fly, but you can get there so quick, and it makes the game so much more enjoyable. And while you're on the way to that mission, you can stop and do these 10, 15 second crimes. The crimes have been streamlined. If somebody's breaking in, you just beat up the goons. Boom, you're done. You're back on your way. The car chases, you can land right on top of the car, web up the guys, stop the car. There's no longer the QTE event. And boom, you're back on your way. They've streamlined all of the little annoying things that people didn't like and have just made it so much zippier, for lack of a better word. Everything in this game is zippier. Literally everything. Now for the fast travel, you actually have to unlock it for each district, which sounds terrible, but in practice, it's really not. I noticed myself just unlocking it in general, because as you complete missions in an area, it'll level up that area. And I think it takes 4, 5, maybe 6, either side missions or just completing any activity in that area to unlock it. This shows me that the devs were so confident in their ability to Future Morgan here. You know what? If you're finding value from this or you're enjoying this, go down, subscribe, like, comment. What do you think about Spider-Man 2? And if you're liking it or you plan on getting it, I'd love to know. Now enjoy the rest of the video. Deliver such a quality traversal mechanic system. And they said, you know what? They can use fast travel if they want, but they're not going to. They're not going to want to. Plus, that also encourages players to, hey, try some of these side missions. Since you're going to have to unlock fast travel, you might as well try some of these side missions. Oh, and those side missions are going to, boom, lead into the story, and they're going to unlock fast travel for you. They have built everything so cohesively, and Insomniac, they just get it. They just get it, and I love them for it. Web swinging, Miles and Peter, they have their unique styles. It's great. They do their own tricks and flips and little leg kickouts. It's awesome. All right, let's talk about combat now. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Damn, they toned it up. a lot. I can confidently say in the first Spider-Man and in Miles Morales combined, I probably died less than 8 times. Spider-Man 2, I think they knew it. They knew that, okay, we're going to give him some new powers. We're going to make him, a little zippier, a little quicker. Let's turn the difficulty up. And I played on the kind of medium difficulty. I think there's 5 settings at first. I'm on the 3rd one. Like, you know what you're doing, but you still want to enjoy yourself. And even that, I died at least 20 times during this game. Now, maybe if you're a Dark Souls player, you're looking at me like, noob. Sure. But despite that, they really turn the notch up, which is good. There are times where you feel overwhelmed, and it's cool because it really encourages you to combo your gadgets and your abilities. You really have to be tactical. They included a parry, which is weird for a Spider-Man game, but it works. It takes some getting used to, just because of the game it's in. It's no different than any other game. If you've played any game with a parry, it's the same thing. Block at the last second and you parry. It's pretty simple. It just felt kind of weird. But man, they turned it up big time. You get overwhelmed, especially in endgame, and we'll talk about that later. Now, one thing that really worried me, and I'm really happy to report on, is that the power gap between Peter and Miles has basically closed. Coming out of the Miles Morales game, it was a clear indicator, if we can play as either one, we're going to play as Miles. Yeah, Peter has his spider arms and some cool gadgets and whatnot, but he doesn't compare. Have you seen Miles' powers? He can turn invisible, and then he's got this teleport electric thing. Way better. But if you've seen the trailers, this isn't going to be a spoiler. I don't know if anyone hasn't seen at least one trailer. The symbiote, the black symbiote Venom is in the game. And once Peter gets the symbiote, that gap closes real quick. Some of the powers you get are incredibly fun to use. And it's like, whoa, okay. I felt powerful before. Now we're talking, and it is great. It is raw. But the symbiote with Peter closes that gap, makes it to where now you can pick your character and you're going to feel equally as powerful with either one, because then it just becomes I prefer Peter because I specifically like the symbiote or the spider arms. Or maybe I like his suits better. Or with Miles, I'm a little more stealthy. I like turning invisible and doing takedowns and whatnot, so I'm going to pick him. It's completely up to you. You don't feel like you're shifted one way absolutely, because they're way better, which is great. There are so many more enemies, like Batman Arkham levels of enemies. If you've played the Arkham games, there are points in those games where you could have 15, 20 guys around you. Now, the way they did the combat, you can beat them all without getting touched. This game does the same thing, except it'll be like 5 different types of enemies and ranged guys shooting at you and big guys with shields. You truly feel overwhelmed, and it's kind of a new feeling for these games. So it gets your heart rate up like, oh my God, there are stakes. I might die, and it's exciting. I can't emphasize this enough, and I'm going to emphasize it more than once because there are different points to it. Do side missions. And I don't mean stop the crimes. Yeah, you can do those. Side missions. Collect the little spider bots, right? Go find the stashes. Do the little popping up side missions throughout the districts, because you'll get, tech parts, you'll get experience, you'll get level ups, so then you can go through and level up the skill trees, which the shared skill tree plus the individual skill trees is a great idea, because if you find yourself predominantly playing as one character over the other, cool, you can upgrade that character a little more. But then you have the shared skill tree, that way it doesn't feel like when you switch to the character you haven't been playing as, let's say it's Peter doesn't feel super underwhelming because you've just been neglecting him. It's like, no, we have this shared skill tree and we have these focus abilities which benefit both of them. So even if you prefer one, you're not going to feel terrible and weak switching to the other. And the biggest gripe with, we'll say combat, it's combat. The MJ missions, in my opinion, have been fixed. Now, some people would just like them thrown out forever, which, that's valid. We buy a Spider-Man game to play as Spider-Man. I get it. All they had to do was give MJ a taser. If you've played the first one, she got a taser at one point. So now she has that on her so she can actually do something against these enemies. That's all they needed to do. She has a taser and she can run. Beautiful. Now the missions are quicker. And the way they form the story in those missions also makes it fun. So again, we're gonna keep spoilers towards the later part of the video, but the MJ missions feel a lot better. They're still there, so if you don't like them, fine. There's not many of them, but they feel a lot better. Suits! This is a quick one. There's so many suits. And the fact that they've created the little, like, oh, you want this suit but in this color, or this variation of this suit, it's really nice. Because maybe you like the structure of one suit but you don't like the colors, or vice versa. Boom! You can switch the colors. It'll look slightly different. I know one thing, that my favorite suit, and it always has been, is the Spider-Man 2099 suit. It's almost all blue with like the red outlines, but then they included one that's all black with the red outlines, and it's like, oh my god, yes. I switch to that one when I'm playing at night because I want to look like a menace. I want them to be afraid of me. I want to feel like Spider-Man, but Batman at the same time. Run when you see him. All the suits are great. Some of them are really goofy, which, I mean, duh. A lot of these suits are goofy, but it's really nice that they've just included so many different ones. Now, I've mentioned the crimes and how they've gotten quicker and more streamlined. One of the bigger updates they made to the crimes throughout the city is they're no longer required for the platinum. Now, if you don't care about platinums for games, that's totally fine. But in the first game, you had to do a certain amount of crimes. You had to stop a certain amount of crimes in each part of the city in order to platinum the game. That's no longer necessary, so if you're a platinum junkie, I'm sure you love that. So personally, I like darker stories. My favorite James Bond is Skyfall, just because you see him at his lowest and then coming out on top, even though it costs him a lot. The symbiote inclusion in this makes for a overall darker game, which I love. Now, let me be clear, the first one is still dark. There's plenty of tragedy and suffering. It'll rip your heart out. But the entirety of this game teeters on that balance. And I love it because they've seamlessly integrated the stories between Miles Morales and Peter Parker. You see these moments of Peter trying to juggle being Spider-Man and Peter Parker trying to keep a job and live a normal life while also being New York's, one of the Spider-Men, one of its heroes, and also trying to keep his relationship together while dealing with the death of his Aunt May. And that's all just chaotic and just has this looming, like, oh man, he's carrying too much and this grenade is about to go off. Then you have Miles, who's struggling really with what comes after high school. Like, he's applying to college now. What does his life mean? What is he supposed to do other than being Spider-Man? Because there has to be more than that, right? Like, you can't just Spider-Man your whole life. There's got to be something more. And to see them try and juggle those, especially when the symbiote enters the picture and Peter's dealing with that and things turn very dark, and the story tries to balance that out with Miles, it's done beautifully. You see at moments, and I don't want to spoil anything, not because it's like a big story spoiler, but because experiencing these moments, if you're paying attention, is beautiful. There will be points where you see Peter, who Spider-Man's story is just pain and suffering and him persevering through it all. And he'll look at Miles, and Miles will say or do something. And you can see it in Peter's eyes, like, whoa, this kid is like the best version of me. He's what I wish I could have been when I first started this Spider-Man journey. Like, he's coming out so much further ahead of where Peter was at his age, and you can see just how proud Peter is. It's incredible. And on the flip side, you see this student, Miles, protecting and rescuing and being there for his teacher, Peter. Peter's supposed to be the one who knows the answer and who's going to protect him, but Miles is often rescuing Peter, or he's the one comforting him, or he's the one telling him, hey, Pete, it's gonna be okay. We've got this. And seeing that shift, it really pulls you in like, whoa, things are insane right now. Things are crazy. And then you throw Harry Osborn into the mix. And now that's Peter's best friend, and he's juggling Harry and Miles because he's got duties that he's obligated to for Harry. But then he also has to teach Miles. Man, they crammed so much into this game, and there's a lot of fan service, but it's done tastefully. Now, some people are going to say, oh, it's too much. They did this and this and this, and they should have left it alone. Fine. That's valid. And when you play it, if you say that, that makes sense. You know, whatever floats your boat. But personally, they did it very tastefully. It wasn't like, oh, guess what? You see that? Yeah, we're going to throw all those characters in. And guess what? They don't belong in the story, but we're going to do it anyway. There wasn't any of that, which was great. One thing I really enjoy is that certain side missions require certain Spider-Men. And now you might be like, oh, that's annoying. That doesn't make sense. It does. Because one thing they did, which I love, is they integrated side missions into the bigger story. So when you go and you finish out these side missions, you do them all, you then get a deeper understanding. There will be some cut scenes and like, oh, wow. So apart from Kraven and Venom and all of this, there was this going on. We had no idea. I would have never known had I not completed this side mission story. Do the side missions. There is so much good story that comes from side missions. And if I had just beat the game and taken the disc out, never touched it again, I would have never known that. I would have never seen that and went, oh, damn, that's huge. I would have missed that. Play the side missions. If you want to save them for after the game, that's totally fine. Just make sure you do them because they pay off. And some of the payoffs are pretty massive. You won't be disappointed. Another reason that the Spider-Men having their own missions, like their own side missions throughout the city, is really nice is because it shows you their different connections with the city. Spider-Man helping the fire department put out a building fire, and he'll talk to them and they'll have like their banter. It seems so casual and friendly. Spider-Man isn't this, oh, the Avengers, like these on a pedestal superheroes. It's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's the hero that you can ask to carry your groceries because you only have 2 arms. It's the Spider-Man who's gonna help you cross the street, like just the hero that they're not above anything. Both Miles and Peter. Miles will help fellow students at his old high school. There's a few missions where you help them with projects. Or you help one guy ask his date to, prom? It's little tiny things that you would never think, oh yeah, I gotta call a superhero for that. But it just goes to show how deeply rooted in New York and in the community these heroes are. For me, again, it's one of those things, I can't get enough of it. It's great. It's little tiny things like, oh yeah, I love that. Or if you were to rescue a cat out of a tree, it's like, really? Spider-Man? He could be stopping Rhino or something, but you know what? He took a moment to help get this cat out of the tree. It's great. One thing I really enjoy about games, especially nowadays, like really well-written games, is they do an excellent job of showing big life lessons and doing a really well-paced delivery of them. You have each of these Spider-Men dealing with their own problems while also carrying the dual responsibility of protecting the city. So they have a shared responsibility while carrying these problems that they have. And you see how each one deals with them. You have Miles dealing with the death of his father and wanting revenge against Martin Lee. And you have his mother telling him, Miles, you have to let go of what doesn't serve you. And even if you didn't see any payoff, just those words, let go of what doesn't serve you, that's huge. That's massive. Like, how much do people hold on to in their life because they were either hurt or betrayed or whatever? They hold on to it for years. And what does it do for them? Absolutely nothing. You can learn from it, but they hold on to the pain of the resentment. That doesn't serve them. But then, because it's a video game, you get the payoff of showing Miles going through a journey of realizing that, you know what, my mom was right. This journey of revenge, what is it doing for me? It's not progressing my life. It's not making me a better hero. It's indulging these hateful emotions I have. To what end? Not helping anything. So seeing that journey is impeccable. And then you have Peter still dealing with Aunt May's death, feeling like it was his fault, recognizing that, oh my God, if I stop being Spider-Man, if I try to live my life or maybe do something good for the world that isn't Spider-Man, what if this happens again? It's all on me. Regardless of having Miles, it's all on him. What if he fails the city or fails someone he loves again? And he has to recognize he's only human. We all make mistakes regardless of how powerful we are. And it's okay. And regardless of who you are, what you can do, you have a responsibility to yourself and the people you love just as much as you do the city that you live in. You can protect them all day, but if you're not taking care of yourself, you can only do one for so long without failing. And seeing that payoff, seeing every single payoff for these big life lessons, it makes you just want to sit back and be like, wow, this is just a game, but it's not. It is just this culmination of joy and happiness and freedom, fun while delivering these big life lessons, maybe in a medium or a way that helps you understand. Because I mean, we all get cliche advice that kind of goes in one ear, out the other. But then you hear it or you experience it in the right setting and you're like, oh, wow, that clicked. I get it. I understand now why that is so significant. This game would have been a 10 out of 10 already, just as is for me, right? Then they had the audacity to say, you know what? Let's let the players play as Venom. And I am not kidding. This moment where Venom is just all out, fully emerged, all in his awesomeness, and you're watching this cutscene. You see him just in this big carnage and breaking things, throwing people around. It's like, oh my God, this is the threat, right? And then the camera transitions to that typical like behind the character, and you're like, no way. And then the button layout comes out, and it was mind-blowing. Like, are you serious? Really? It felt, you know what it felt like? If you've played God of War Ragnarok, that game is huge and bombastic and it just hits you with big thing after big thing, and that's kind of how this was. But the one thing they didn't do was let you pick up Thor's hammer, because that would have been insane. That's what this felt like, is if they would have let you pick up Thor's hammer. This game was going through being amazing, and then they said, you know what? Let's top it. Let him play as Venom. And you're unleashed on the city. You're running through a building like Hulk through the corridor of the helicarrier in Avengers. Just destroying everything. Nothing can stop you. And then on top of that, they say, yeah, we've been setting up Kraven as the main baddie. And on one note, Kraven, great. Like, it's so cool just watching him pick off Spidey's enemies. Like, yeah, this is amateur hour. The real bad guy is here. Let me take all these boys out so I can find the real threat. Totally great. To set that up and then to drop the bomb of the real threat and say, you thought you were a threat? Let's let the players play as Venom and destroy Kraven. It is not even close. The fight is great, but you annihilate him. He's sitting there all happy. Yes, I've met a match. And you straight up humiliate this man. It is such a power trip that they didn't have to throw in, and they did. It's amazing. It really is. You'll love it. Or if you've already played it, you knew you loved it. I don't know if this is a spoiler because it's in like the first 10 minutes, but I assume it is. The starting mission is insane. They don't go from 0 to 60. They go from like 60 to 60. It's like 3 minutes of a cutscene and then immediately, whoa, Sandman fight, towering over the city. Both Spider-Men. Oh, here's the web wings. You're both fighting him to beat. Massive set piece. It's insane right out of the gate. There is no, oh, let's give you a nice cutscene to watch for 10 minutes so you can kind of get acclimated. Nope. You better be on your toes because it's getting real. Insomniac, you spoil us. You really do. It's so much fun. It really is. Now, they teased a lot in this game. There's, you know, the Avengers Tower. There's the Baxter Building, Fantastic Four. There's the Sanctum Sanctorum, you know, Doctor Strange and Wong. Geez, not Wanda, Wong. But like I said, they didn't go overboard. They didn't, you know, have Doctor Strange show up and, oh, the Fantastic Four and oh my God. No, this is a Spider-Man game. Yes, it's nice to give these little like wink winks because we're in the same city. It's the same universe. So that's cool. But just to throw that little like, oh yeah, by the way, just in case you missed it, you know, they're still there. Oh, there's Avengers Tower. That's right. You know you're in New York, so that's going to be here too. Just little stuff like that is really cool. Again, do the side missions. Why? One of them, I don't even know if I want to say it. I'm going to say it. One of the side missions, and it's kind of like the main big side mission, teases Carnage, the crazy symbiote. And that's massive. I can't believe they tied that to a side mission. That was the side mission that made me realize like, oh, I need to do all of these because that is such a huge sequel plot point. If I had not done that and then come to find out I had missed it later on, I would have been kicking myself. Like, are you serious? It teases Carnage. And then at the end of the game, not to mention they tease Green Goblin. Oh my God, there's so much excitement and fun and hype, even as you're ending the game. They give you just enough at the end to say, yeah, you thought this one was crazy? Get ready for the next one. Now, I spoke to it a little bit in the beginning. This is my game of the year, not because it's the longest. I think I beat it in 18 hours. Not platinumed, just the main story, 18 hours. Doing a few side missions here or there. I wish it was a little longer. I do, just because I'm biased. I can't get enough of it. I'd love for it to be 40 hours. Sure. But of course, you can go back and replay it. It's my game of the year because I don't feel the same playing any other game at all. There is nothing that has made me feel the same as playing these Spider-Man games. I love Baldur's Gate 3, and that was my game of the year. Like I said, it was perfect, and it still is. But this Spider-Man 2 makes me feel free. It is touching. It makes you care about these characters. It makes you, I don't know, it's the game that little kid me always wanted. Like, you want to be Spider-Man, oh, and you want to fight Venom, and then you want to play as Venom, and you want to fight all these other characters and all these villains, and oh, Lizard is massive now. He's like this giant hulking lizard, and you want the symbiote suit on Spider-Man. This game just said, you know what? It's Avengers Endgame. That's what it is. Like, a lot of people didn't like some of the fan service for that, but that movie is incredible. That's kind of what this game is. It's like, here's a great game with all the stuff you could have ever wanted. Have fun. And man, does it work. It really does. Like I said, it's very tasteful. Throw out all of the cool references and all of the cool villains and whatnot. You feel like Spider-Man. Just hop in and swing. Go around the city, listen to the NPCs talk, do a couple side missions, rescue some people. It makes you feel like the hero, even closer than the Arkham games make you feel like Batman. It really does, at least to me. So what do you guys think? What do you think of Spider-Man? Or if you haven't played it, are you going to go play it now? Because it really is, it's incredible. I can't see a single person regretting getting it. I don't think I've met anyone who didn't like the first two. But if I met someone who didn't like this one, I would be astonished. Like, please riddle me that. Why? Tell me, please. But what do you guys think? Go down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Spider-Man 2, or if you're going to pick it up, if you're excited for it. Go down, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, because, you know, we have to appeal to the algorithm. You know, we're all slave to it. We got to play the game, play by the rules and whatnot. And I hope this was helpful. I love this game. I really do. I'm going to replay it again, and then when New Game Plus drops, I'm going to play it again. Tell me what you think, and have a great day.